Feidelberg, and this is the one thing I learned. It is the 5-year anniversary of the Brady 4. Have you guys heard about this? The story we talk about non-fucking stop at this company? But I'll tell you what, I think we earned it. Let's cartoonify it. The day Tom Brady's suspension was announced, Barstool HQ in Milton, Massachusetts was a buzz. The squirrels who own the place, a buzz. The bugs that fall from the ceiling, a buzz, as always. You hear stories from like men of the cloth or soldiers, how they just felt a call to duty. That day was no different for bloggers. It was the exact same thing. We didn't know what had to be done, but we knew something had to be done. Dave suggested that the move would be to form a march to Gillette Stadium. And I, a well-known hater of walking, said, why don't we go to New York, handcuff ourselves in the street outside HQ? Someone else in the office, I believe it was Light Switch Lou, said, no, handcuff yourselves inside HQ. Boom, done, diddy. We were right on it. Probably that evening, we were in our cars, chugging down 95, heading to New York to wreak havoc. So that night, we stayed in a Four Seasons on 57th. We knew that the next morning we were going to jail, so we decided to pamper ourselves. We decided to make it nice. Like the boys of Stamper Oil, before they had to go on the asteroid. They said, give the guys one night of freedom, give the guys one night of fucking fun. We were like, that's it. Before we go to the clink, we're going crazy. The next morning went predictably. We marched, Goodell cowered. We stormed, Goodell retreated. We planted our flag in his land, and Goodell remained in his ivory tower, terrified. We were out there causing a scene right in NFL headquarters, right in the plaza. Free Brady, fire Goodell, Kensel's a bitch. Free Brady, fire Goodell, Kensel's a bitch. Free Brady, fire Goodell, Kensel's a bitch. And that's an easy thing to do sitting here right now. But as I marched in a circle, I was getting more and more and more exhausted. But I had to dig deep down and had to keep pushing because I knew Tom Brady needed me. Free Brady, fire Goodell, Kensel's a bitch. Free Brady, fire Goodell, Kensel's a bitch. Free Brady, fire Goodell, Kensel's a bitch. We sat in that lobby. We demanded to speak to the manager. This was a man who says he speaks to the press every day. He was always open to the press. We sat there for hours saying, get down here, Roger, you pussy. And after a few polite requests from security to leave, the police were called. The police came and said, they tried to make the scene a little calmer. They said, guys, if you just get up and you just walk out of here, you can leave. That'll be a fine thing. Before the last syllable left their mouths, we said, not a chance, you fucking coward! Join the fight or get out! They didn't take too kindly to that, so we were immediately taken downtown. It was more midtown, if I'm being honest, but I was in no position to correct the officers at the time as I was in handcuffs. And while we're getting booked, there was a gentleman in the prison cell. He looked like a man out of a horror movie. His clothes were tattered. He clearly had fleas. He was talking fucking shit to the wall. I don't know what the wall did to him, but he was furious with this thing. Whatever kind of drugs this guy was on, it was the good stuff. Or the really bad stuff, but that just means it's the good stuff. While we're all taking our mugshots, we were also offered our one free call. Credit to fucking Davey Pages. Dave's one call was to Kevin Clancy. Called up, said, hey, make sure you put the t-shirts on sale, get a bunch of shirts up, make sure they're on the site, make sure they're promoted, all that. Kevin was befuddled. He's like, what do you mean? I'm your one phone call and you're just telling me to put up t-shirts? He's like, yeah, get the t-shirts up. Kevin was like, all right, bye. Also, while we're getting booked, we have probably a rather odd request for the NYPD, but they liked us, so we figured, why not? We handed one of our cell phones to the police officer and said, hey, could you take a picture of the four of us in here? I can't imagine that's a request they get often, but they were happy to oblige. They went full Instagram girlfriend on us. They were like, all right, try this angle, bang, bang, boom, boom, got it, posted on IG. Sales guy ended up being the first to be booked, so he was in there alone with the man who we would later come to know as Diaper Boy. Now here's just a fact. There have been men who faced certain death with more bravery than what Gaz showed that day. He looked like, you ever seen the video of babies being lowered into water where their toe hits it and their faces realize like, holy shit, I'm gonna be completely submerged in this in any second? Gaz had this look in his eye like, what the fuck? What the fuck is happening? No way. Don't put me in there. Don't put me in there, please. Paul had, he had no idea what kind of environment he was walking into, but he knew it was quite scary and he knew it had a pretty good chance to kill him. As the day progressed, we were greeted by more and more lawbreakers. The first two to join were two monks. There's only one bench in this place, in the holding cell. And Dave and I were like, holy shit, what could these guys have possibly done? We gotta give them our seats. So we immediately get up and give our seats to these two monks, thinking, men of the cloth, I mean, of course, you've earned this, have the seat, sir. And later, the police officers came back in, we're like, what the fuck, why are they sitting in your seats? We're like, they're monks, dude, of course we're giving them our seats. Like, you fucking idiots, they're pickpockets who go around Times Square and use their big sleeves to slip into people's pockets. The next guy who joined the party looked exactly like Ice Cube. And this guy's been to prison before. This guy's done his jail time because he walked into that holding cell where there was one bench occupied by two monks, 4 scared people standing as far into the corner, trying to make ourselves into the wall if we possibly could. He looked around, took off his sweatshirt, and made it into a pillow. Like, just folded it in a way that I think Michael Scott would in the woods during Survivor Man, laid down in the middle of the floor and was snoring in like 13 seconds. It was like this guy had just laid in the most comfortable bed you've ever seen in your life, but it was the holding cell floor in a New York City prison. I've never seen someone announce so loudly without saying words, I know what the fuck I'm doing, don't fuck with me. There were a few more nondescript prisoners added to the mix after that, but it was all kind of a blur, and we were shortly thereafter transferred to our own prison cells. Now, we all got our own. The Brady Four each got an individual prison cell, and that was a favor from the NYPD. It was a favor from the NYPD because we had just raised, I think it was like $150K for 2 fallen officers, and they knew exactly who we were as soon as we got in there. They were very thankful for the money we raised for the officers' families, and they were so thankful, in fact, that instead of sending us to the tombs, I guess is what it's called, which is fucking horrifying, they were like, we're going to take care of you guys tonight. We're going to make sure nothing truly awful happens to you. They were going to give us our own cells in the back. The tombs, by the way, is a place that they said we would, and I quote, definitely get murdered. And then they all laughed about it. We were very thankful to have our own cells there. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, when we were back in our own cells, at first, it was really fun. The 4 of us hanging out, cracking jokes, fantasizing about the media attention we were getting. At some point during our discussions and having fun, we hear a fart. But it's not a regular fart. It's a fart that echoes. It's a fart that's farted as if it's been farted into a metal toilet bowl. Dave immediately has an idea who the culprit is and ponders aloud, Hank, are you shitting? And Hank offers up the most sheepish, yeah, you'll ever hear in your life. And now we thought it was just the 4 of us in this wing of the prison cell. After Hank's, yeah, we hear from down the hallway, N-word, what? We were not alone, it seems. This man continues, he says, this is my 3rd time in this week, and I ain't never shit in one of those things in my life. Hank did what seasoned jail vets have never even considered in their lives. Hank pulled down his pants and pooped into a seatless metal toilet bowl. And Hank did it wild fast. Like, we were in there under an hour before Hank said, yeah, no, it's time to shit. Like, we should have asked Hank beforehand, like parents asking a kid before a road trip. Like, have you peed? Like, Hank, we're going to jail. Have you pooped? You clear out the bowl? Did you get a coloscopy last night? Because it's going to be pretty dire times in the near future. The night wore on and more prisoners were added to our wing. So the officers kept shuffling us around, making sure that we stayed together. When I finally got paired with Hank, I walked into Hank's cell and saw one of the most unbelievably awesome yet disturbing images I've ever seen in my life. So I walked in to see Hank with his shoes off and his leg on the toilet and a shirt off. I've never seen Hank more comfortable than I did when I walked into that cell. He was just like, oh, what's up, bro? Like, I'd come into his apartment and he was playing Xbox and smoking weed. Like, what's up, man? Grab yourself a beer, let's hang out. He was loving life in there. But he wouldn't love it much longer because now we're in nighttime. So I'm in a deep sleep. I'm snoring. I'm keeping Hank awake. And then I'm aroused by these deep, guttural proclamations. Honestly, they're noises a horror movie villain would make. It's just echoing through the hall. I'm the diaper boy. I'm the diaper boy. Mommy, I'm covered in rashes. That's what we heard for the rest of the night. It repeated over and over. I'm the diaper boy. I'm covered in rashes. As if it was Halloween, and there was just this dad who was really bad at scaring kids and just said weird things in a weird voice and thought that would terrify them. In a New York prison cell, it terrifies you. Hank and I didn't know whether to laugh or scream or cry or what, so we just silently stared at each other for the rest of the night. The next morning, we were taken to our arraignment trial, the whole group, the whole wing. So we all pour out of our jail cells, and we learn that the man to the left, the diaper boy, was the same guy who had terrified Gaz earlier in the day before. Now, we get paired up like a chain gang. I think I was with Gaz, I forget. Dave was with a stranger, and I think Hank was last, and Hank got paired up with the diaper boy. It was harder to get Hank's hand attached to that chain than it was to handcuff him originally. I've never seen a hand have to do something so forcefully that wasn't really dangerous, but like, it was really, really hard to get Hank's hand in that handcuff. Which understandably, I get it. We shimmied over to the courthouse where they had peanut butter and jellies waiting for us like it was fucking recess. And we were put in a kind of a holding room of sorts. There was one gentleman in that room who kept calling us fucking pigeons and then cooing at us like Birdman, but an insulting coo. Not like a nice one. It's like, fucking pigeons, whoo, 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 whoo. And we didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to react to anything that happened this whole day. But that one in particular, that was weirder to me than the diaper boy. I knew the term, you're a pigeon from hockey. It didn't look like a guy who was quoting hockey terms to me. He just kept calling me a fucking pigeon. Then, once the cooing was done, we were finally taken before the judge, who gave a light chuckle and sentenced us to 6 months probation. And as long as we didn't violate our probation, it's off our record. The justice system's pretty easy. Like, it was just like, it was 15 seconds, in and out, bang, done, boom. When we were released, the swarm of paparazzi that we'd envisioned and dreamed about was one single New York Post photographer. But the entire affair was still a pretty big win. I think we can look back on that and admit it. We'd received tons and tons and tons of media attention. We'd had a kind of a bonding night together, and we did get Tom Brady's suspension revoked. People forget that. He was later reinstated, but fucking, we got it gone. That one time, we got it gone. So it wasn't a total success, but goddamn, it was pretty fucking close. And the one thing I learned in all this, actually two things I learned. One, prison with your friends is fun. And two, protests work. Tom Brady, free man for a little bit. Thank you for watching One Thing I Learned. Here's a reminder to please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and leave a comment for other stories you'd like to see cartoonified. And if you want to see more stories, make sure you click the playlist right up here. It's all the One Thing I Learned we've had, all compiled in one place, all the great stories. Subscribe, bell, watch it, comment, do it all. Thank you.